Evening, welcome to the Derby debrief from RamsTV. I'm Bradley with former Rams captain Shaun alongside, here to reflect on a defeat for Derby tonight. They've lost at Plymouth despite taking the lead by 2-1. Just like in the game at Pride Park in September, the Rams led at half-time, but just like the game at Pride Park in September, Plymouth fought back to win it with second-half goals. A penalty sealed it. Might have been some controversy about the decision. We'll touch on that amongst other things, Shaun, and you'll hear from Paul Warren in a moment or two as well. Just general thoughts on the night to kick us off, because it's another one I certainly am left just feeling frustrated more than anything. Yeah,
I thought we were good in the first 45 minutes. We created good positions. We pressed well at times. When we couldn't press, our shape was good behind the ball. We limited Plymouth to very, very few chances. All saying that, the start of the second half, they got a little bit of momentum, and after the first goal, we didn't deal with it. And it's not the first time we've said that of late. We haven't dealt with certain situations in games where the teams have made it difficult. They've got on top of us. At that point, I'm looking for characters on the pitch. I'm looking for some sort of response to make sure it's damage limitations, and they regroup, they get back into what they were doing well in the first half. And we didn't see that. And that's the difference when you're playing against teams that are competitive. You can't get away with it away at Plymouth. They need that kind of little opening for them to start penetrating through the pitch, and they were the better team in the second half, and we didn't deal with it, and it's a real worrying sign at the moment.
Oh, we'll get into the weeds a little more with Barks shortly, but let's get some reaction from Home Park. Here's Paul Warren.
Obviously disappointed. I thought we were really good first half. We should have created more goal scoring opportunities that we didn't, and then second half, when they put it on us a bit, we didn't have many answers. So I am hugely disappointed with our second half performance, and it's obviously my job as the voice of the dressing room to come out and say it, but as a group I think we let a lot of people down, and I'm pretty inside angry of our performance, really, because I didn't think our first half performance was far off what we want away from home. And then the second half, I appreciate it's a deflected goal that goes in, and there's a contentious penalty. But that aside, we didn't do enough to score a second or a third goal, and when we have an opportunity to make a tackle in the middle of the pitch, we don't take it. When we have a chance to stop a throw-in, a simple throw-in, we don't take it, and they're the little things that add up. But it's not the big, a save in the top corner that wins your games, although it can. It's the little details, and our little details tonight weren't of a standard to win at a place like this.
How disappointed are you from what you saw in that opening 45 minutes? You got yourselves ahead, you clearly stifled Plymouth, and then you see that second half, because it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, well, obviously they're going to come out of your second half, so I appreciate that, and we rode the storm for 5 or 6 minutes, and then we have an opportunity to tackle, I think, and I haven't seen it back, but I can only go by what my memory's telling me. I thought we had a couple of chances to tackle. The lad gets there, has a shot through legs, and I'm telling the lads to do that all the time, sometimes just pull the trigger. And they get their goal, and then they get their tails lifted, because obviously, the position they're in and taking us on is a big scalp to beat us. I'm well aware of that. But and then to get the penalty, I just didn't think there was enough of a reaction after that to get us anything, and that's what disappoints me the most. Like, you've got to get things go against you, but good teams just grab the game and think, right, come on, let's do this, let's do that. And I just didn't feel like, as a group, and I'm part of that group, we done enough to get ourselves back in.
Does it concern you that on Saturday, when Shrewsbury got back in the game, things turned a little bit for 10-15 minutes, like you mentioned, after the game, and then you've had it again tonight? Is that becoming a concern, or is it just because it's happened in back-to-back games, all of a sudden it feels bigger than it actually is? Well,
everything's a concern when you're not winning, and we're not winning, and we need to win, and we need to win to be in the playoffs, let alone anything else. So it is a concern. Like Saturday, I think, against Shrews, we conceded 3 goal-scoring opportunities. They took 2. We probably created 8 and took 2. So look, I don't think we're scoring enough from really good positions, and I don't think we're defending well enough when we do concede opportunities. And that is as simple as football is, and that's what is frustrating, and that's what will make the journey home horrendous for everyone. And I'd sincerely thank all the fans who came. Saw a lot in the town today. They're really good people who want the best for the club, but I just feel like we let a few people down tonight, and it stinks, to be honest. I find it very difficult to come out and speak to you about it, because Like, I can understand if teams are better than us, you know, I can understand if teams have outthought us or things like that, but that's not how it felt. It felt like we got outfought, and that is a difficult pill for me to swallow.
I'm not asking for word from in the dressing room, but would it be fair to say you've told the players what you feel at the moment?
Yeah, well, it's my job. I just said that. I have to go out and try and defend you, and I don't think I've really defended them that great, if I'm honest, but they have to know what I think and what I feel, and like, if they want success, there's certain things which I expect, and if they don't want that success, then, you know, they're at the wrong club. Like, we've come in here to be successful. We've come in here to win games, to play, and to win promotions. And I say promotions, but that's what we've come in to do. So, look, if people don't believe in what I'm saying and they disagree, they're entitled to say it to me, and I've asked them to, and no one's disagreed with what I've said. Although they'd have been pretty brave, because I wasn't best pleased when I said it. But I'm not the enemy. I'm trying to help them win games, and the simple things have lost us tonight, I think. Like, we had a good opportunity to score with a corner first half that we didn't take, and they come back and haunt you. We have another couple of opportunities where I think we're in really good positions and we don't do enough. And then they catch up with you. So we didn't create enough second half, and fundamentally that is why we've lost. So I am frustrated, I am disappointed in the lads' performance, and I think I'm entitled to say that. I'll come out and say they're great, and if we lose and we've been great, I'm the first to come out. But tonight I am disappointed, because I know what a big game it was, I know what it meant to our winning here. And I just think we lost at a whimper, and that is what I find disappointing. No, I might watch it back and I might be completely wrong. I might have been really harsh. I've been way too emotional. Shouldn't do this 2 minutes after I've just spoke to the lads. But that's me. I'm just telling you candidly. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I could get an amazing reaction Saturday, and that's what we're going to need if we're going to win a football match. And
just lastly then, you mentioned it there, you want to see a reaction now. I would imagine in training, and then also on Saturday at Oxford.
Yeah, well, that wasn't enough to win a game here. It isn't going to be easy at Oxford. They're obviously going through a bit of a transition. So, and then we have Ipswich at home. So they're tough games, and we've put ourselves in a really good position. There's been some really good performances from the lads on a regular basis, but tonight collectively we weren't good enough. And, you know, I'm entitled to say that. I think that, you know, that isn't the Derby County that I want to watch. So I'm disappointed tonight, and I'm disappointed with myself because I made changes that had no effect, although obviously when I made them I didn't intend that. But generally speaking, it could have been a really good night and a good night for everyone who's travelled, and unfortunately it hasn't been.
That's Derby boss Paul Warne, who is clearly hurting Shaun, and he's honest about that, and that's one of the things that we admire about him. Yeah, he is honest, and I think the frustration and disappointing thing for Paul tonight would be he was in a position to pick up all 3 points. We were in a position at half-time. We did everything right in the first half. We looked a threat in behind. We stretched the pitch. We did all the work without the ball. And he knows that it was a winnable game at half-time, and we've let that slip. I don't think they had to be brilliant in the second half, Plymouth. They showed signs of their quality going forward, their quality in possession, their passing and movement. They showed quality, but they did it at times in the first half. We just withstood that pressure. And as soon as the pressure starts building, that's where you need certain people to stand up, and you need the team to stay together and ride the storm and get through it. And at the moment, we're not doing that. And I think that's why it's so disappointing, because it was there if we really wanted it this evening. And unfortunately for Derby, and it's particularly stark because it's happened in the last 2 games when they've gone in front and dropped points, and that has probably happened far too often this season now. Nathaniel Mendes-Lang puts them in front first half, more magic from McGoldrick in the build-up to it, and he takes the goal nicely, but it's what happens after that, isn't it? Plymouth immediately were better, and then obviously they come back second half. Yeah, well, I thought we started the game really well. I thought we started on the front foot, showed them no respect, pressed really well, didn't let them settle in a rhythm, which we know that Plymouth, when they're in a rhythm, they're a really good footballing team. We got the goal, and at that point it was about keeping the pressure on, keeping what we've done so far in the game, and that's working for us to keep that pressure on, and we let it drop. Now, even in the first half where we weren't pressing, our shape was good behind the ball. We still landed on lots of second balls. We still fought. We still turned them at times and got them back running towards our own goal. All the things that worked in the second half, you saw that dwindle as the game went on. You saw less of it as the second half progressed. And
at 1-1, you're still in the game. There was a poor goal to concede, but you're still in the game. The penalty decision was an extremely poor decision from my point of view.
We'll come back to that in a second. But
that takes it to 2-1, but there's still time. If you do the things that you've done well in the first half, you get chances, because we saw that Derby were the more positive team in the first 45 minutes. So why let those standards drop? Why don't do those things that have already worked previously in the game? So at the second it went to 2-1, I don't think there was too many of us that fancied Derby changing it, and that's confidence. I think it's the form and how vulnerable we maybe are at this precise moment. If you'd have asked us whether we would have got back into the game 8-9 weeks ago, I think we both sit here and go, yep, we fancy us, because our attitude, our belief, our confidence, our group mentality was different, because we were in form. What we've got to do is work out when things aren't working for us and it's not going our way, how do we then get the response from the players? And that will be one of the questions for Paul.
Games turn on moments, don't they? And sometimes single decisions. And I feel a little bit for Harvey White tonight, because I thought he was good first half particularly, but I think he should wipe out the guy for the first goal, and that's, I guess, the sort of thing you learn, isn't it, as you move on in your career, when to take the foul, take the booking? Yeah,
100%. I thought it was excellent until that moment. I thought he patrolled the back four, just in front of the back four. I thought he picked up lots of second balls. I mentioned how important his role was before the start of the game, just in front of the back four, helping out Cash and Fozzie with the 2 10s coming inside the pitch and making a narrow front three. He did it really well. But Warney talks about moments, and he talks about key decisions, and that for me is a key division. You have to make the challenge. You cannot allow a player or the ball to go past you. You take one or the other, and he took neither. And at that point, you're out of position. The transition is players out of shape. It's far too easy. Cash comes across, obviously, try and make the block. It deflects. It goes in the back of the net. But that's based on moments and decisions. And Harvey White has to learn. He's a young player. You've got to respect that and not be too harsh. But that's a learning curve for him. Clear the ball, be aggressive, win the challenge. And if the ball goes past you and the player goes past you, take one or the other.
The penalty. I'm not saying it's stonewall. I know a lot of supporters are saying that it's not a penalty, and I think you agree. I'm sort of looking at it slightly differently and thinking, with the way that the game is now, if there is any contact at all, the player goes down. And I wonder if it was the other way around, whether Derby fans would feel the same. But give me your view on it. You don't think it's a penalty, do you?
I didn't think it was a penalty at the start, and you know that we can be quite emotional and get involved and see what you see instantly. I thought he went down rather easily to start off with. When I see it back, we're talking the most minimal contact there possibly could be on his toe. Any player that's not trying to buy the foul, that's not trying to con the referee, stays on the feet, because it's not enough to disrupt your movement whatsoever. So he's looking for that. He's trying to engage any sort of touch. My only point and my only criticism would be, if you dangle your foot out, you always leave the decision into the referee's hands. You don't give him that decision. He bought it. He kind of went for the ball, dangled a leg out. As soon as he saw that leg come out, he went down. So it's not a penalty for me. No way in the world. And if it was the other way, I'd be honest. I wouldn't have given it to Derby if it was the other way round. I thought it was a poor decision from the referee, and I thought he was in a good position to make that call. He made the complete wrong one for me.
I certainly think Derby have been on the end of some bad decisions, and it's one that I think maybe adds to that in a lot of people's minds. But I suppose the bigger issue is, that goal goes in with, 20 minutes left? And as you say, you never really got the sense that onslaught, that pressure was the chances were going to come for Derby. And that's the bigger problem.
Yeah, the game went out of Derby's control after the first goal. It was after the first goal. So leading up to it, we've withstood a bit of pressure. We did it a little bit in the first half, a little bit in the second. The second that goal goes in, you just see a shift and a confidence seep from the players. And that's the most important time. The most vulnerable is 5-10 minutes after you concede your first. Regroup, get your shape, make it difficult, start ratting again, start getting around the pitch, start being aggressive, winning your duels, because at that point you then build yourself back into the game. And we haven't done. In the last few weeks, we haven't done. We've just allowed the game to continue in the same manner. Now, whether the referee makes a poor decision or not, when the penalty is given, there's still time. But I just didn't feel that we had the confidence in the players that are on the pitch at the moment to get anything from it. And that's the disappointing thing, because we know this team full of confidence that's on a really good run can perform and can get results out of nothing. Even without good performances, we were still churning out win after win, clean sheet after clean sheet. That confidence is affecting all of them, and they need to regroup and find that inner strength within the group and individually to make sure that these situations happen few and far between from now until the end of the season.
Let's get some more reaction from Plymouth. Here's Joe Wildsmith.
Yeah, disappointing. Put ourselves in a great position at half time. I think the performance in the first half was really positive. Lads come out the traps really well, took them by surprise, I think, with the work rate and our ability to break down wide areas, and essentially that paid off for us with Nat getting through in on goal and finishing on the second attempt. Second half, I think it was clear to see that it wasn't good enough from our part. The levels sort of weren't there to compete with them. They came out all guns blazing and got a goal that gets their tails up. It's unfortunate from our side with the deflection and then a penalty decision that I thought at the time was very soft. But I haven't seen it back to make a full decision on that. And two sort of scenarios that have gone against us, and in a second half where we didn't have a lot to create for ourselves. I don't think for all the positive play that they had in the second half, they really put a lot on us. I didn't have a save to make in the second half, which is for the dominance that they had in the second half. It's frustrating because we feel like we still could have come away with something, whether that be 3 points or a point. And for the fans coming down, obviously it's disappointing. The support was great tonight from the travelling fans, and it would have been nice to give them at least something to take back up the road and ourselves for a long trip.
Are you able to put your finger on why the performance levels aren't able to be maintained after the break?
Not really. I mean, I don't think there's too much to read into. We'll analyse, we'll look back and see what we could have done better. The manager, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he gives us the full debrief in there of what he thinks, and we'll take that and move on. And it's all about showing that character now and trying to come back and get a good positive result away at Oxford on Saturday. And yeah, I think there's more than enough in the dressing room to make that reality.
It's all about bouncing back and showing character at the Clapham Stadium on Saturday now, isn't it? 100%. I mean, tails will be up from us. We want to put it right. It's been a week that's frustrating for us, having been ahead in both games and obviously not getting the full points on offer. So we've got something to prove now, and I've got all faith in the lads in there that we've got enough to do that. Talk over much of the last few weeks has been about chasing down those top two. Is it more about now just getting back to winning ways and seeing where that takes you? Yeah,
take it game by game, and see where it takes us. We've got the ability to go on and run. We know that, and show the confidence that we did earlier on in the season. So there's no stopping us doing that again. And like I said, we'll see where that takes us.
That's Derby goalkeeper Joe Wildsmith. Not a good night for Derby all round, really. Barnsley beating Portsmouth. Barnsley host Plymouth on Saturday. Maybe don't count Barnsley out of the automatic promotion race just yet. Ipswich beat Accrington pretty comfortably at Portman Road. Peterborough beat Shrewsbury in the battle of the playoff chasers there. And Wickham beating Fleetwood to close the gap between them and the Rams. Plymouth go level on points with leaders Sheffield Wednesday. Goal difference keeps the Owls at the top of the table. They also have games in hand. Ipswich maintain the pace. Barnsley move up a couple of places. Derby slipped to 6th. They're now just 4 points above Wickham and have played a game more at the other end. It's still really only Forest Green that are totally adrift, although it's getting more difficult for Cambridge and MK Dons. Derby's opponents on Saturday, Oxford, are just 3 points above the relegation zone. We are back on Saturday to bring you build-up and all the action from that game at Oxford United. For now, from me, Barks, and the team, goodbye.